Hey, Emily. Everybody's hopping on. I felt like I couldn't even talk on that last Zoom. I hope I didn't sound ridiculous. My brain is like spinning.
No, you didn't sound ridiculous at all. It was fine. Good.
Hold on one second. My husband's calling. He's at the new house. What's up? Hey, I'm on a Zoom for the book club. Did everything go okay? Okay. Okay, good. All right, I'll see you in a little bit. Bye. Alrighty. So I don't know who else is going to hop on. There's a lot of people in the book club, and so I would expect more people to be on than this. It's somewhere in Howell, New Jersey. Oh my gosh, Jessica's book never got to her. I'll just tell her to hop on. Yeah, there's 27 people that are on here. So we'll see. Okay. There's Nikki and Jessica. Okay. I love the book. What are you guys? Are you guys loving it? Yeah. I feel like it's a big kick in the butt, which I personally like. Obviously, the no BS blueprint to building a life-changing business kind of gave a clue that it wasn't going to be no problem, Jess. That's totally fine. Knew it wasn't going to be, a foo-foo book. So I love that. It's totally to the point. I definitely took notes, and I just would like us to all talk. I don't need to sit here and talk the whole time. Just kind of have a discussion about things that stood out. I'm sure you all took notes as well. So chapter 1, and we're just going to go through 1 through 3 tonight, was about why people fail and why that ain't going to be you. So I think that we can kind of just go through things. The 3 buckets and the 4 reasons why people fail, I think is really important. We've talked about this before as far as the 3 buckets are concerned. I don't know if we really call them the 3 buckets, but we've talked about how they usually fall into those 3 things, which is they are interested in the products, interested in the opportunity, or they don't really have any interest at all, and they can be connectors, right? So either way, in whatever bucket they're in, they're still providing us with something to help us grow our business. And I think that she's starting to, in the chapter 3, at least, give us some verbiage of how to approach people depending on or how to talk to people depending on their responses, about being a connector, about, when you're leading with the business, which is something that I guarantee she does. And she talked about that towards the end of chapter 3, as far as leading with the opportunity and defaulting to the product. That's key for growing a team, for moving towards financial freedom or time freedom. And while, like, for me, my goal is time freedom, well, that comes with financial freedom, right? I mean, that's the thing. You can't really have time freedom without the financial part. So it's super important for us to kind of switch that mindset. Our team has notoriously been a product heavy team. So this is something that is going to take a mindset shift and a dialogue and verbiage switch in order for us to move forward and reach our goals. You all know what your goals are. I know some of your goals, most of your goals, actually, for that matter. And most of you want to become a jewel in the company, or at least move towards that space. And in order to do that, you got to build a team. So the 4 reasons why people fail. Number 1, they are not coachable. I could shout that from the rooftops because it's the most frustrating thing as a leader. And I'm sure you all deal with that. If someone's not coachable, they're not going to be successful in our field. They're just not. There's still people on our team, perhaps on the Zoom, I don't know, that really struggle with reinventing the wheel. It's almost like a stubbornness. I have no idea because like for me, like I could never have done what I did, first of all, without a team, but second of all, without all the leaders. I basically just do what they do. You know what I mean? I'm not inventing any of this stuff because I don't think I would know how. How do you guys feel about coachability within yourself, but also within your teammates? Is that something you struggle with?
So I don't know if anybody else is raising their hand, but I can say something if not. So what's interesting is I was with a company briefly before that. My experience was a huge flop because, well, for a lot of reasons, but mostly because they told me to do what they were doing, but it didn't fit with who I was. Like I just knew it wasn't a match. Historically, I have always been somebody where, like, if somebody tells me to do something, like my dad would always joke, like when I was in high school and, you know, my car insurance would come in the mail, he would write a note on it and be like, whatever you do, don't put this in your glove box, because like we always joked that I would totally do the opposite, right? But when I committed to doing this and giving it a try and seeing like what could this really be, that's exactly what I committed to myself of like, I'm going to do for real what they tell me to do because obviously it's working for somebody. And I feel like I actually related a lot to like this reason number 3 that's a little further into the chapter, but the not willing to get uncomfortable. But I think sometimes even the coachability part can feel uncomfortable because what people are telling us to do in order to succeed is going to be outside our comfort zone. Do you know what I mean? So I know that that's where the growth is, and that's where I have committed to just doing what I'm told to do, basically. But I think that a lot of people just feel like they already know better, or there must be an easier way, or why waste all the time? I mean, even Mike and I have had those conversations. He's like, I don't understand why you're doing all that. And I'm like, well, you also don't understand why I'm adding people to my team and you're not, but that's for a different conversation, right? So I don't know. I mean, I think it's huge, but I think sometimes it's like not really human nature to just do it even though it's uncomfortable. Like if it's uncomfortable, it can't be right. Right.
When in our field, it's like if it's uncomfortable, you're probably on the right track. It's a totally different mindset. And as you push yourself, it's better. Your progress just goes up exponentially. I think the whole coachable thing, like, you know, I know that like we all own our own business, right? Like nobody's anybody's boss. Deb, okay, that's okay if your microphone's not working. If you want to type stuff in the chat, you totally can. I feel I'm coachable. My problem, that first approach to someone I don't know. I haven't figured that out. Does someone have a good video about this? Approach to somebody you don't know that you like just meet when you're out and about. Okay. Yes. And she talked a little bit about that at the end of chapter 3. And there are some great videos on that. One that comes to mind is from Sonia Dudley about how to talk to strangers. And it's just about getting good at asking questions. And she talked about that in the last chapter as far as like, you just go out with the intention to meet people and make friends, not to puke your Plexus business on people, but to make friends and work on relationships. It's it wasn't said in this, it was said, but not in these terms, but it's pretty much what she meant is this is a business of farming, not hunting. You know what I mean? When we go at it as like a hunting thing, when we're just like prospecting and, you know, that sort of, people can feel those vibes like beyond belief. And so if you just go in with you have to like people. I think that's the number one thing. If you don't like people, you should probably not be in this business. But I mean, you just go out with the thing of, making new friends and connecting with people and, hooking up with them on Facebook or getting their contact information. And she did talk about a little bit about that. But yeah, Sonia Dudley, just go to YouTube and type in how to talk to strangers, Plexus, and some things will come up from some diamonds. So not coachable. So she basically said, if you cannot declare out loud that you're 100% coachable, stop reading this book. And I definitely agree, because we basically have to be able to put the steps in place that have already been done before us, right? And I think my issue comes about, and I don't know how you all feel at your point in where your leadership is, but sometimes I feel like I'm coaching people, but people take it as me telling them what to do, when it's not something that's coming from me, but it's coming from the people before us that have paved the path. So that's just one thing that I struggle with as far as coaching people. Number 2, they don't treat this like a business. We all know those people. She said it's called network marketing, not net slacker marketing. And it's true. I think that a lot of times people think that they're just going to sign up a rock star, or they just, I hear all the time, I can't find a runner. And it's like, no, be the runner that you're looking for. You will attract more runners. While at the same time you're being the runner and you're being the rock star that you're looking for, you will be finding the rock star that you're looking for. Because if you're being the rock star, you're going to be doing all the things that it takes to find people that want this opportunity and that are open to it as well, which means talking to people, pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone, being consistent. You cannot work this business some of the time. You can work it part-time, but you can't work the business some of the time. That's important too. Those just understanding that mindset. I know we've all gone through periods in our business. Some of us are newer than others. Some of us have been around for a while, where we get frustrated or life gets in the way. And typically it doesn't change, right? Life's still going to happen. There's still going to be frustrations. There's still going to be emergencies. And that's the cool thing about what we do, right? Because like today, Nora woke up with 102 fever, and I had things scheduled, and I was able to work around them, take her to the doctor, snuggle her. I don't have that freedom and wouldn't have that freedom at a full-time job. However, that still didn't mean that I had the out of not working my business today. You know what I mean? But that's my decision, right? That's my decision. But it is the decision and what it takes to be successful. Sacrifice now, pay off later. Actions align with your goals. And I think that's something that is missed a lot of the times is, I want this, but I'm not willing to do this and this and this. And it's just not going to happen. And then 4, they're not hungry enough. I mean, plain and simple. You have to be hungry. And I think she talked a lot about her why. Did you guys rewrite your why? I did, because I feel like I was at a place where I needed to do that. She talked about the whole why makes you cry thing. She also said that you don't have to be at your wit's end and be in a miserable state to have a strong why. You just have to make it worth your while, why you're doing this each day. Some of us don't do it for the money. Some of us, don't need it financially. Some of us do. And there's all different reasons. I did enjoy the fact that she said that you can't really make it about finances, but instead what that provides, to get specific. Did anybody kind of uncover anything about their why that they didn't really have out there on paper or off their brain? Yeah, Melissa?
What I realized was that when I was writing it and I was trying to peel back the layers of the onion, like she was talking about, was that I really desired to feel independent again. I really took a lot of pride in successful career, and I feel like it's been a long time. I hope you guys are still with me.
Yes.
My internet is a little sketchy. But anyway, that's what I uncovered, was that I really just want that independence again.
Yeah.
To feel like I'm bringing in some income and I'm being successful outside of the home.
For sure. For sure. Anybody else relate to Melissa? I know I can. One of the things that has definitely been a blessing that I didn't really think about in the beginning, but just being able to have that independence, and that it feels good. It's empowering. It's empowering. You know what I mean? Even if you don't necessarily need the money, it's empowering to be able to do something sometimes outside of mommyhood. I know a lot of us are full-time mommies, and it's a thankless job to be a mommy a lot of the times. And I think this job definitely has helped me to have something outside of that that I needed, and I didn't really know that I needed. Anybody else have anything about their why that was kind of uncovered at all they want to share?
I'll say something.
Yeah.
I think for me, when I initially started Plexus, I started to, because I was really excited about the products and what it was going to do for me health-wise. And then I became an ambassador to get the products cheaper, plain and simple. I didn't go into it thinking, oh my gosh, this is a great opportunity, da-da-da-da. I was never going to be those, the person who like made it big in the network marketing, because it just wasn't my thing, right? So I'm going on 2 years, which is a little bananas. And I think that has come, I mean, it's a belief system in myself, and it's something that I need to build. And slowly but surely I'm getting there. This is very outside of my comfort zone. So like even joining this book club was like, okay, this is going to give me confidence to do, whether it's this, but like even one page further or one step further. So I think people, I mean, and the one ambassador that I have, she's doing it for the money, and we talk about it all the time, or not for the money, for the cheaper products, and she loves it, and we're good friends. And so it's hard for me, because I get that. I get where she is. So it's hard for me to like, I'm learning how to like, I don't know, become that person, I guess. So it's been a slow process for me, and just knowing different personalities and different personality traits, and kind of like this was a big step for me. So I know people step in different ways, if that makes sense.
It does. And the cool thing is that you set the pace of your business, right? I think the most important thing, though, is to make sure that the goals that you have and the pace of your business align. Because if they don't, you're going to get really frustrated, right? Because, Molly, if you were saying to me, I want to be a Diamond Ambassador this year, but I don't really want to share too much, and I don't, you know what I'm saying? Then it's like, okay, well, that's not going to happen. But if you are happy with your pace and you are reaching your goals that you have set, your pace is perfect.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's something that should be looked at. The problem arises when people have goals that they declare, but the actions and the pace that they're going at don't align. Mm-hmm. That's when the frustration comes in. That's when people quit. And so that's totally fine. And as far as like having teammates and them doing it for the wholesale pricing, a lot of people start that way. Some people change their minds and want to do the business like yourself, like me, like Catherine, Megan, Nikki. I mean, to all of us, really. But some people don't, and that's okay.
Right.
Our job is, if we do have a goal of building a team, is to find the people that do.
Right.
And again, your pace is perfect if it's something that is getting you to your goals. And that's it. And I think that's something to be looked at. And I'm glad that you're pushing yourself a little bit out of your comfort zone. One of the things that Molly has that is absolutely necessary to be successful in this business is a huge heart. And that's it, really. I mean, that's all you need to have is a huge heart to want to help other people, and the ability to push yourself. And even if it's slow going, That's fine.
I'm getting there.
See, you're like that little choo-choo train.
I am.
Yes. And I think that is a beautiful thing. And your journey, and that's another thing. I don't know if she talked about it, but comparison, just don't do it. Man, does it steal and suck the joy out of your journey. There's so many people. I was added to a couple jewel groups after I went Emerald, and somebody just posted yesterday, anybody on here, take like a year or two to get to gold. And it was interesting because there was several jewels that it took that long for them to get to gold, and to once they started working the business, to further their journey. Like, everybody's pace is different, and then you have people like Brooke Hemingway who goes diamond in, 9 months and whatever, you know what I mean? It's just, it is what it is. It's your journey. Embrace it, All right. The last sentence that I highlighted on that first chapter was, I can't make you coachable and I can't motivate you. That has to come from you. Something that I've learned the hard way. I used to like to try to drag people along, and just, if I could just motivate them, right? Because you just know how good they would be. It's a waste of your energy. Watch their feet, not their mouths. Watch their feet, not their mouths. Just because you know they would be awesome at this, and you know that they could change a ton of lives, doesn't mean they're going to. And you're basically just going to be banging your head against a wall trying to get them to do something they don't want to do. If they don't have a passion or a drive for it, talk to them about being a connector for you instead of trying to motivate them to work their business. Start a referral program with them or something, that would be my opinion. Number 2, why are you here? So this is all about our why. We talked a little bit about this. Anybody have any notes from this chapter that you want to share? I did like that she said that the why has to be all about you and for you. I know as women, a lot of times we tend to say, we're doing this for our kids, or we're doing this for our, whatever. And it has to drive you, right? So you can be doing it for your kids, but it has to be deeper than that. So you need a bulletproof why to get you through the tough times, because there's going to be tough times. It's just inevitable. And that why has to be about you and for you.
I liked how she said, if you... another reason people can't figure out their why is because they've stopped dreaming, or if you haven't stopped dreaming, maybe you've stopped believing that it's possible to actually realize your dreams. And I feel like that gets in the way a lot, kind of like what Molly was saying, that it's like, okay, well, I could never really be that person who's really successful with things, Yeah,
for sure. And that's just a perception, of ourselves. And, we also, a lot of us read the book, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. If you haven't read it, read it. But a lot of our roadblocks are all right here. They're all right here. And it's what we tell ourselves. If you would have asked me that I would be at the top of a network marketing company, 4 years ago, I would have laughed in your face. You've got to be kidding me. I'm a social worker. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I have no friends. I just moved to a new city. I had 140 Facebook friends. I never posted on Facebook. And if I did, it was ridiculously unappealing. So, you know what I mean? It just doesn't matter. If you want something, you invest. You learn, and when I say invest, I don't mean monetarily. I mean your time and your self-growth, and you just do, right? We are our own roadblocks 90% of the time. I firmly believe that. Proof that if you work really hard at something you're passionate about, that's of value to others, it's possible to have fulfilling work while also having a life. I loved that. I think a lot of people have that, again, that misconception about what we do. And that's a stigma we all have to face. Somebody just chatted. Let's see. I like when she said, you must make your goals time bound because a goal without a timeline is a dream. Absolutely. I did a call on SMART goals, Deb. I can try to find it and tag you in it. But it's extremely important to make your goals time sensitive, and to have those short-term goals, but also those BHAGs, those big, hairy, audacious goals, pushing that, pushing yourself. Don't just set your goals for something you can get, right? Set your goals for something a little outside of what you think is in the realm of possibility for that month, so that you can push yourself. It's been shown, posted in the book club group. Yes, I will, Meg. It's been shown that if you write down your goals and if you make them SMART goals, you're just so much more likely to meet them and declaring them out loud. She also talked about the most public forum you can possibly stomach, right? Our team page, your Facebook wall. It was huge for me to say at the beginning of July, even though I had more than a doubt about going Emerald last month, that I was going to be an Emerald. My stomach was turning when I made that post, and then I created that group, and I was holding myself accountable, and there's something to be said about that. There really is. Those visualizations too, those screen savers we made about our goals. I think it's important. I need to change mine because it's still Emerald. But it's only been a couple weeks. I'm going to leave it there. But I think it's important for us to declare those goals out loud. A little bit more about the why before we go to that chapter. Okay, it says, I think one of the biggest reasons many people can't find their real why, the one that will make them get uncomfortable, stretch, and grow, and consistently show up, is because they don't dig deep enough. It's really like peeling an onion. I think it is. It's about getting uncomfortable, about tapping into those emotions that are impacted by what you do. And if you did the practice exercise before chapter 3, that would help you get a little uncomfortable about what you would miss out if you didn't pursue this. What your life might look like if you stopped or quit. It's important to go there, even though it's not too comfy. Yes. So then the other thing was a specific goal has to be much greater chance of being attained than a general one. So that's where the SMART goals come in. So what do I want to accomplish, when, and why? So every month on the Sunday, before month end, I sit down and kind of write out my monthly goals. Who I want to talk to, who I feel like is kind of dripping out of my funnel, because I'm always trying to connect with people and make sure my funnel's full, because most people that join me in any given month are people that I've talked to for a long, long time. I just got a customer yesterday that I talked to literally the week I joined Plexus. Okay. So it does happen. I'm telling you, you just have to keep in contact with them. When it's their time, they will join you. Okay. And you have to believe that. So you don't get discouraged. Okay. I underlined this one thing too. It says, this depends on how much time you're willing and able to spend on your business. Okay, this is about the whole alignment. For example, if you have a goal of replacing your $10,000 monthly salary in 6 months, but you're not willing or able to carve out 6 hours a week for your business, this is probably not going to happen. Again, you have to make sure that your goals are in alignment, or your actions are in alignment with your goals. Visuals, I underlined starting small with SMART goals, and doing daily IPAs. It does feel good to achieve goals, so I always feel like we should have SMART goals that are achievable and small, because then you can kind of boost your confidence as you go through the month, and reach your bigger goals. Anything else? She talked a lot about falling in love with the process. I thought that was really kind of a cool thing to look at. Instead of looking at it as a daunting thing, just falling in love with it, falling in love with meeting people and talking to people, not making it such a tedious task, but instead something that's enjoyable. Anybody have any comments about anything else in this? Oh, and meeting with your shareholders. How many of you can say that you have had a sit-down meeting with your shareholders? Anybody? Okay, I think it's important. I've done this multiple times, because if your family or your shareholders, whoever they are not on board and don't know your goals, it's going to be a lot more difficult. There's been plenty of times, and I'm sure some of you guys have gone through this too, where we've had disagreements and issues in our family because maybe mom's working more than they thought was gonna happen, or maybe mom misses something, or whatever the case may be. And once we sat down and said, well, what do we want as a family? What's our goal, right? What is this going to help us do as a family? Then those things were understood. My kids now really get it. They really get it. And I'm there for a lot of stuff, but they support me when I'm not there, and they understand, that mommy, is going to work. They understood that I was going for Emerald and what it took. My babysitter's on vacation this week, and my 6-year-old was like, I can babysit. I just need to know how many ounces Nora gets in her mouth. He's like, I don't know what ounces are, but I can do it. And I was just like, but the cool thing is like, I don't have a babysitter this week. So what? I can work around that. You know what I mean? Like, I can work around that. I can get up earlier. I can work during naps. I can work later. And that's the beauty of it. But yeah, so have a meeting with your shareholders. And then she talked lastly on the chapter about how your brain constantly changes based on what we think and do, and we can change how our brains are wired. That basically right there is the whole What to Say When You Talk to Yourself book. You are what you think. It's just plain and simple. So if you tell yourself that you can achieve things and you constantly are reminding yourself that you can do it, it will happen and come to fruition. It's powerful. Okay, chapter 3, making your list. How many have a living, breathing list? I will say that I am falling short in this area after reading this chapter. Okay, good. How, Catherine and Melissa, you both raised your hands. How do you guys organize that? Do you have it on a computer like she does?
Yeah, I have it on Excel. I started from day one Excel. I keep everything on Excel. So, and I keep track of everything on there. Like if they have any food sensitivities, allergies, what they're currently taking. When our last conversation, like what we talked about. When I last contacted them, when I'm going to follow up. So yeah, it just helps me keep track of everything.
That's great. That's great. Mine is written down, and I think I need to definitely, Elizabeth said she has it on paper, need to put it on Excel. Me too. I'm not really good with Excel, but I'm thinking numbers. Catherine, is yours on the computer or no?
Mine's on paper. I'm not good with Excel either. I kind of want to be Melissa when I grow up.
Yeah, right?
I can send you guys what I have. Excel's really easy to use once you just, get a few of the basics down.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm always like scared of like technical stuff. Like I remember when I first started doing Zooms, I was like, what? But I mean, yeah, once you get comfortable with something, it's just, I think it's mandatory, especially if you are looking to grow a large organization. I think I need to get mine onto a computer because I work really hard at adding to my list every day. And she talked about that. 2 to 3 new contacts a day to your list. And I feel like when she was talking about the person that writes it down on envelopes or here or there, like that's me. And so like I need to have it all like in one spot and always go back to that, instead of having it like one name in the notes in my phone and one name on the, back of my notebook. And it's just, so that's something that I really need to work on. And what I'm struggling with is making that list isn't really considered an IPA, but it's something necessary to make my IPAs from there on out a lot more easy and effective because it's all in one place.
Go ahead.
Deb's asking, Melissa, do you have just a big spreadsheet or individual ones for each person? I've got one started, but can't quite figure out which way would be least cumbersome.
I was going to say also, and I'm sorry, Melissa needs to answer that, but there are really simple apps on your phone or on your computer that you can use that are like client keeper apps.
Yeah, she mentioned that there were some like apps, but she didn't name names.
Let me, I have them deep down in, in my phone. But let me get some titles because I used to use those and they're amazing. Super simple. You don't have to know any like formulas or any of that stuff. So I'll share them with you guys.
Okay. I am a little freaked out. I'm super type A. Like she was like, phone lists scare me because like, what if something happens to your phone? That's like my file box. I'm like, I was thinking the other day, I was like, what if like someone stole this? Not that anybody would, but like, I wouldn't know what to do. You know what I mean? So I don't know, but I guess you could back up your phone thing to your like iCloud, right?
That's the iCloud.
Way over my head.
Supposedly the iCloud safe.
Right. I don't know if that thing even exists. I'm still skeptical. Yes. Molly, if you could put the list of those apps in the, Jessica would love them too, in the group on Facebook for the book club when you get a chance. Lady, that would be awesome. Okay, so living and breathing list. So anybody you meet and you're out and about, she came up with, or she gave us some examples of what to say to people when you're out. But I do love what she said, because a lot of times when I sign up newbies and I have them do their list, because it's something I mentioned in the first email and also help them to do, is kind of jog the memories. She said, I'm calling BS on this one, and it's actually been proven to be total BS about people that are like, I only know 40 people. BS. You know what I mean? And so I think that we really need to understand that whether or not you talk to these folks about Plexus ever, it doesn't matter. You just need to drain your brain onto paper or Excel. And I think it's important not to discriminate. She talks about a lady whom she was not going to reach out to, who ended up being one of her top leaders. And in Rock Your Network Marketing Business, that's a book I give to all my level ones. The last chapter, or one of the chapters, is about her $1 million mistake, or over that, by not talking to someone that signed up with another team who's at the top of the company. It's all it takes. If you don't talk to somebody, somebody else will, and you can't get mad at them. Because if you don't open your mouth, you know what I mean? That's the way it is. And it doesn't matter if you're better friends with them, if you're closer to them, if they join somebody else's team because you didn't say anything, it's your bad, right? And I think it's important for us to just put ourselves out there and just not discriminate. Fear usually gets in the way with that one. Chicken list. You know, she said, Megan Elliott, if your mouth is closed, your business is closed. It's totally true. It's totally true. And you have to kind of find that like fine line of like just connecting and presenting, like, you know, just working on the relationship versus being like, you know, immediately puking your business. But yeah, I mean, it's important to be solidly working on those relationships. Anything else about the chicken list? She just said, I implore you to reach out right away to every single person who makes your belly do flip-flops. You all know who those people are, right? You're the people that you have every excuse of why maybe today's not a good day to reach out to them. And really all we have to do is tell them why we're so scared, right? Why are we so, you know, excited and just anxious about talking to them, because it probably is because of the person that they are. And it's usually a huge compliment, right? Because they're probably an influencer, or if they're, you know, just good with people. So quit making up those stories in your head about what the chicken list people will think of you or say to you, because you don't know, and you could potentially miss out on somebody who could really love this. I love when she talked about this person who was super successful, but you don't always know. Just like Brooke Hemingway, I posted that video. I don't know if you all watched it. I posted in the gold and silver group. but it was an awesome video. Emily Roberts had Brooke Hemingway speak. Brooke Hemingway was a top convention point earner. She's also a diamond, and her husband's an emerald. And she went diamond in less than a year. But lots of people would skip over her because her husband is an ER doctor. Money wasn't an issue from the outside, and she was fit and happy. But when Amy Paul, who signed her up, kind of dug a little bit, it turns out that her husband was working like 70 plus hours. They never had time together. She was exhausted, even though she was like a fitness instructor. And she was looking, maybe not looking, but when she was presented with this, really saw this is something that I could do that could help us have that freedom to be together as a family. And then look, what if Amy never said anything to her? It's crazy. I think about that all the time when I'm like, yeah, I'll reach out to them later. Can you post the video in the book club? Yes. Of Brooke Hemingway, Megan? Yes. Okay. So I'm posting the SMART goals and the Brooke Hemingway one. Yes. I posted it in the goal group because it related to something, but I will. So she said, don't be a chicken shit. It could cost you millions and keep you from living the life that you want. Any other things that people want to share? Clearly, she talked about getting out of your house. You're not going to build a network when you're sitting at home. So you got to show up. You got to go to coffee places to work sometimes. You got to go to mom groups, say yes to invitations even when you don't want to. I highlighted this one part that I said to read out loud. It said, I get it. You're tired. It's snowing. You've been talking to too many people all week. Your kids have sucked out every remaining bit of energy you had. Your couch and your favorite movie are calling you, but remember how badly you want this and get your ass out there. I really feel like that's something I need to read to myself every day, because it would be so much easier to not be on here, but to be sleeping or watch, I don't know, Bachelor in Paradise. Not that I ever watch that stuff. But I know, right, Molly? But, it's true. Do the work now. Enjoy the freedom later. Megan's in Canada right now on vacation. She's on this Zoom. Emily had her daughter's birthday tonight, and she's on this Zoom. I know she had to hop off because she was trying to put her kids to bed. Jessica's putting her kids to bed. It's okay. You know what I mean? It's okay to multitask a little bit, but showing up and engaging in your future and doing what I know you all are capable of is so important. I have said and will say again that I will not and won't stop or feel like I made it until all of the people that want to be where I am and where I'm going are. Because that's the cool part about this. I'm excited to go to Hawaii, but it's going to be so much more exciting when I have my teammates there. So much more exciting, and that's what I look forward to. And doing this with all of you is a joy. So if nobody has any other comments, we'll stop. Anybody have anything else they want to add before we go? I'll post a group. Awesome. Thank you, Melissa. Okay. I was looking at pages. I'm thinking chapter 4 through 4 through chapter 8, up to chapter 8. So 4 through 7 for next time. Does that sound good? That's 50, 60 pages. 6 pages. Okay, cool. All right. Then 2 weeks from today, I will put a Zoom link up. But let me just look at the date of that. The 30th of August. I will put up a Zoom link, but save the date if y'all are around. And then I think we'll probably have 2 more chunks after that to do. So we'll probably have 4 Zooms total. Okay. Awesome. I'm so glad you guys are reading this. I really, really like it. We just have to put into practice what she's saying. Okay. Have a good night, guys.